Welcome, everyone, into another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. We took a week off, but we are back with a lot to talk about. A lot of trades going down and a very, very busy week leading up to the NFL draft. As in today's episode, as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, we are doing our official mock draft, and we'll definitely get more into that, or I'll explain it in further detail once we get into that segment. But yeah, I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about, some trades, some kind of a little bit of drama news going down in the NFL. How you doing today, Jaden? Everything going good on your side?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. First day of NBA playoffs. Looking forward to watching more of these games. Pretty happy my Miami Heat did not make the playoffs as we get our first lottery pick in last 7 years.
Yeah, that's
maybe Adam Silver decides to throw us a bone and we become the next Dallas Mavericks. AJ DeBonsa, welcome to Miami.
Yeah, that's fun. Who would you rather, if the Heat got the number one pick, would you prefer AJ over Darren?
Yeah, I like DeBonsa.
Okay,
I think he's just. I think it's. But yeah. I think we have two all-star guards in the backcourt already. Probably one of them, if not both, might. I mean, hopefully not both might end up leaving, but I think we have two all-star guards in the backcourt. I think a wing like that would fit perfectly with this team. But yeah. Anywho, this is an NFL podcast.
Let's get back into it. You guys know the drill. Before we hop into any of the real big news or segments we got for this or for the episode, we got to get into pregame talk with my main man, Jaden. What do we got today?
So today I wanted to get your opinion on something, and it has to do kind of with the NFL draft. And this is something I've had jotted down on my segment ideas for ever since we started this podcast, but I haven't asked it yet. At least I don't believe I have. I might have asked it in an earlier episode, but I'm not sure, so you have to let me know. But it's,
let's open up.
What do you think about the top prospects, sometimes choosing not to test at the combine?
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on that? Do you obviously forcing a player to do it is kind of crazy, forcing players to test. They really don't have to. And barring injury, is that something that you would really like to see, more of the top players doing? I know a lot of pretty much none of the cornerbacks did this year.
Yeah.
And I know they have the pro days, but I think that's a little bit different. It's you kind of I don't know. I feel like it's easier if it's just on the combine. You kind of have to go out your way to watch it. Do they even live stream those type of things? You kind of have to get the after, look it up yourself, the highlights for it. And,
I think me personally, and from what I can remember, I don't believe you've asked this, so this is a good refreshing topic. I don't personally have a problem with players that don't really decide to do it. And I think my number one reason for that, first of all, it is an exciting thing to see. When you go out there and you watch a player like Sonny Styles dominate the NFL Combine, I think it's fun to see. It's great to have those conversations, see these different posts and whatnot, and start getting the crazy comparisons out. But at the end of the day, we see so many different players, dominate the NFL Combine, and I would say a majority of the time, it doesn't really matter. The biggest part to that is I think the top 25 fastest wide receiver 40-yard dashes of all time, I think only one of them was ever a Pro Bowler or something crazy like that, or only one of them had an 1,000-yard season. I remember we talked about that on a podcast. There's players like Xavier Worthy, who's currently playing, that could potentially hit that mark, but it's I think it gets overrated a lot. Anthony Richardson took over the combine. That dude was a freak of nature at quarterback, and you can see that literally didn't matter at all. So it's not.
I think
the
also
biggest
too,
thing to me.
It's more for players to rise rather than the top players. All it's really gonna do is plummet your draft stock. Mm-hmm. If you're a projected top 15 pick, a couple of these corners, how really much higher would this have moved them up if they were to test and, test I mean, they'd have to test amazing, honestly. And that's the thing. You could just, have a bad day and, mess up. You only get two attempts to, like, run the 40 and things like that and all these other drills. Like, you just could slip up and, get a number that doesn't really define the type of athlete that you are. And like we said, it doesn't really matter a lot. I mean, look at even, like, with wide receiver. Like, a lot of the top wide receivers, like, they didn't run the fastest 40-yard dash, like you said. Like, best receivers in the league, like, they're not the fastest guys and things like that.
And I think it's a good point because, like you said, I mean, it doesn't do a whole lot for certain top prospects. Those are 4 guys that are, like, trying to put their name in the like you look at like a Sonny Styles, where I think a Sonny Styles was projected to go really high, but because of a performance like that, you've had people thinking he can go as high as number 2, and that I don't think anybody really had that before the combine. So I think you have players like that where it's like, yeah, they could improve their stock, but for a lot of players, like, I don't need to see certain guys go there. I mean, this is like an extreme thing, but Jamar Chase was, basically a generational prospect at LSU, and he didn't even need to play his junior year, and he was still the 5th or 4th overall pick in the draft, and he obviously didn't perform there. So it's like, I don't really need to see it from certain top guys. It is fun. It's a great event every year. It is certainly entertaining to see these guys go out there and show their talents, and a lot of these guys are just unreal freaks, and it's fun to watch, but it's not nothing I'm like, Mendoza isn't going to the combine and throwing. Shucks, I don't want him at 1 or whoever you can think of.
I will say I kind of wish the quarterbacks did it. We're, like, forced to do it now. I don't know. I feel like that's just a cooler position to watch, like, them, the quarterbacks do all these things. I mean, we saw, like, this year. I mean, we saw previous years, Anthony Richardson just light up the combine.
Yeah.
Taylor Green this year lit up the combine. I think that's cool. Just to see how athletic these quarterbacks are, I feel like that's the one I'd care about personally the most.
I think it's also cool when with the combine where it's like, I get to get introduced to certain players that I'm not 100% familiar with. You know what I mean? Like, if Mendoza goes out there and dominates the draft, Jeremiah Love, Jordan Tyson, some of these players, it's like, I know these guys are really damn good players. But then you go out there and you see a guy like I don't know, even like a Kenyon Sadiq. I think he was, like, mocked as a first-round pick for a majority of the year, but he goes out there and he performs like that, and it's like, man, how good can this guy be? You know what I mean? You think about certain players like that really go out there. Dylan Thielman, and it's like a safety that you have people on Twitter saying that they would take him, over Caleb Downs, and it's like I wouldn't agree with that, but that's what a combine can do for you. So. Yeah, I think it's good for the overall prospect to go out there and build your name. But as far as the top guys, I'm not like, if one of the top guys doesn't go or doesn't perform, whatever, I'm not, like, paying too much attention to it personally.
Yeah, and I feel like that was just a topic because I feel like that's what you seem to see from a lot of fans. Like, they get mad when they don't see the top players, testing at the combine. Yeah. And, you just got to realize, like, a lot of them really have nothing to gain from doing it. Only things to lose.
Yeah, so, literally. Because
it's really meant for, like, the lower end, the day 2, day 3 picks to really try to build their draft stock, maybe be draft on potential and athletic potential, things like that.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with that. Now let's jump into the juicy stuff because we had this break. When did this tweet get posted? 5:25 p.m. It is currently 7:53 p.m. on Saturday. The Giants are trading 3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence to the Bengals in a deal that will include the 10th overall pick. Now, all the details, I believe, at this point are not fully out, but I mean, the 10th overall pick is the big thing in this draft. Immediate grade reactions, this is tough. I think for the Giants, it's overall higher. But also, I mean, Dexter Lawrence is a hell of a player, man. I think it could be a win-win situation. I think it could be very similar to the Max Crosby deal when we came up on here, when that was a thing for a few days, and we were both like A for both sides. I think you could argue this is an A on both sides. I think I can look at it as an A minus for the Giants, and maybe even higher at the end of the day, 10th pick. The Giants are now sitting at what, number 5 and number 10 in this draft now, and the Bengals bring in, one of the best interior defensive linemen. You could just flat out say defensive lineman in football. I think I'm going to settle in. I'm going to settle in at an A for the Giants, and let's go A minus, B plus for the Bengals, maybe a little bit lower. But I think both sides are very, very happy with their deal. Are you similar to that, or am I maybe a little bit too high on both sides? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's pretty good for both. I mean, it sucks from the Giants' perspective for that whole ordeal to sour with him and the Giants. I feel like that happened pretty quick. No, was there really any talks on that? Like months prior, like kind of came out of nowhere.
I had it bookmarked. It was April 6th is when the trade request officially happened, and now we're sitting here.
Because this type of stuff happens all the time, like every year with these superstar players and contract, disputes and, the extension and all that. But, I mean, the trade happened like immediately within a month, I guess.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it would be, like, really nice, I feel like, for the Bengals if they – still maybe had like a Trey Hendrickson also on that defensive line. But I think, I mean, with losing Trey Hendrickson, you kind of have to do a move like this to stay competitive in that division.
Yeah.
Where, the Bengals you're fighting for as being, possibly the third best team in that division with how the other two teams have gotten better or staying good. But yeah, I think around that for me as a grade, A minus, B plus for both.
Yeah, that's fair. And the Bengals are in such a weird position. Obviously, having Joe Burrow, you feel like you have a chance to, I mean, honestly, go anywhere you want in the playoffs. I mean, as far as saying the Super Bowl, but just the talent is just not there.
And Dexter Lawrence also. I thought Dexter Lawrence was a little older. I thought he was like
what is
pretty
it,
close to 30. He's 28. Which, I mean, other positions you look at that as being, somewhat up there, but I feel like defensive tackle, they age kind of like wine. We're seeing it like Cameron Hayward and stuff.
Right.
Aaron
he was
Donald.
2019 class, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been in the league for a minute. But I think it's a win-win from both sides. So
he had a bad, a down year last year, but I think he's still the player he was a couple years ago.
100%. So that's a crazy blockbuster to start us out. We do have a smaller trade that did go down in the past few weeks since we have not been here. The Green Bay Packers are trading wide receiver Dontavian Wicks to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 2026 fifth-round pick and a 2027 sixth-round pick. So nothing too crazy. I think Wicks is a player that a lot of people, including myself, when you look at some of the tape and some of the flashes that he has out there, man, it feels like, dude, this guy could be a superstar. But then it's like he has really bad drop issues. He's dealt with certain injuries, and it's like he's never been able to really turn into the player that you'd like it. But I think the Eagles are just kind of surefying their wide receiver position up, considering that there could be an A.J. Brown trade in place that could happen very soon. We'll have to see on that if any more news come out about that. But this is nothing too crazy. We won't spend a whole lot of time on that. I think it's like, I don't know, maybe like a C plus from both sides. I mean, maybe it's a little bit higher on the Philadelphia side, or on the Packers side, I should say. I like getting a fifth and a sixth round back. I mean, you have such a deep receiving room. It's okay draft compensation for a player.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah,
like they have so many of those. Like the whole wide receiver room is filled with wide receiver too. But they did lose Dobbs too.
Yeah,
so you got to kind of remember
I
that.
I think what this really shows, I feel like they might have a lot of confidence in Matthew Golden. And I personally, I do as well, but I think this could be a thing where they're like, yeah, we think this guy is our number one, and we are going to fully go all out for it. And I wouldn't blame him because Golden is a hell of a player. I know people say like
Jaden Reed too.
Yeah,
Christian Watson, Golden, Savion Williams is solid.
Yeah.
So I mean, they still got some people back there.
It'll work out. I think. But for both sides, yeah, probably C-ish, C plus, B minus type of range for both sides. The last bit of really NFL news that I want to talk about before we start getting into this draft talk, I actually have a couple things around the NFL draft that I want to talk about before we actually get into it. But the other bit of news, there was a report that came out from Ian Rappaport that the Jaguars are officially making Travis Hunter a full-time cornerback. And when me and Jaden both heard this news, we reacted to it on our own, and we're kind of like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But in the back of my mind, I was always like, I feel like he's definitely a guy that should be featured a lot more on offense. Like, I don't think it should be a thing where it's like an 80-20. Like, I think it should be, a guy that is a full-time corner, but also plays, 50, 60% of snaps offensively. And Travis Hunter himself came out and quoted that tweet and said, now, who told you this? So I'm not sure who to believe. Do I believe the reporter that's been on his shit for years now? Or do I believe the man that's literally in the position of Travis Hunter? This is the guy that he's talking about. I don't know. We'll have to see when it comes down to it. I would like for Travis Hunter not to be limited as just a full-time corner. I would like him to be featured on offense a lot. I think he's too much of a dynamic playmaker not to be. But that's also funny because the last episode that we did, I was very high on Travis Hunter with the top 25 under 25, considering that I think this guy can be a legit superstar on both sides of the football. And if you limit that to only one side, don't get me wrong, I still think Travis Hunter as a full-time corner would be a top 5 corner at some point in his career. But man, I think he can legitimately be a guy who's a top 15 corner and receiver at the exact same time. And we just have never seen anything like that. But then again, we've never seen anything like Travis Hunter, so it makes a lot of sense. So I'm interested to see once the season starts, who was correct? Was it the man who's literally in the position of Travis Hunter, or did Ian Rappaport on his shit? We'll have to see. But that's all kind of the real NFL news and drama that's going around that I wanted to talk about. This is what I mean by I got a couple of draft things that I want to talk about. This is going to feature you, Jaden, kind of like a quiz test in a way, but we'll be real quick with it. I won't have you sit here thinking for 12 minutes on each thing. Who was this made by? I want to get this correct just so I don't say the wrong person that made this. An account put out the best offensive and defensive player from each class over the last 10 years. I believe it was Score, maybe the Score. But here it is. 2025, the best players in every draft class since 2018. So this is the best offensive player and best defensive player according to them. I want to see if you can guess and see how many you get correct. Again, we won't go on it too long. You just throw out an offensive, defensive player. I'll tell you if you're correct or not, and then I'll give you the player. So from this past year, 2025, who do you think was the best offensive player and defensive player?
Last year,
yeah.
Are they like taking in a position? I don't know.
This one's pretty easy, I would say.
Ted?
Don't think about it too much. Yep, Ted is offense, and then on the defensive side of the ball,
Schlesinger.
Yep, they chose the O-Roy and the D-Roy. So pretty easy on that. The year before, 2024,
Drake May
is offense, and then defensively. If you need a hint, let me know. I'll give you a small hint for these.
Is this Verse?
Yeah, it is. Jared Verse, the defensive rookie of the year. Right. 2023. Your hint is these guys were both first round picks. Both.
This is
top,
Bryce Young draft.
Yeah, Bryce Young, and C.J. Stroud's year.
Bijan?
No, it's not Bijan.
Gibbs?
Close though. Yeah, they gave it to Gibbs over Bijan. I was surprised, but they gave it to Gibbs over Bijan. And the defensive side of the ball, this one's a layup on
Detroit
the defensive
side. Will Anderson?
Yeah, Will Anderson Jr., the best defensive player from 2023. 2022, it is a first-round pick on defense, top 10, and on offense, this is a second-round pick, I believe. Running back on offense, obviously.
Running back on offense, second-round pick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2022.
2022.
I want to say he might have been third, but I think he was second.
2022. All right, let me go to. I'm not hitting on that right now. Defense.
This guy was a first-round pick, top 10 pick.
2022 is this? I'm trying to think who went first in this draft. Is this is Trayvon Walker?
Yep, that he did go first, but he's not the player. Yeah, he did go first though.
Yeah, and that means Hutchinson went second. Is it Hutch? I don't think so. Is it?
Not Hutch.
Who the fuck?
Similar range though, in that area where Hutch went.
Trying to think who went next in this draft.
I believe this guy was 4th overall in this draft.
Team.
Same team as the player that was on defense last draft. So the Texans.
Oh, Stingley?
Yeah, Stingley on defense. And then on offense, this guy won a rushing champ. He was a rushing champ for one of the years that he's been in the league. 2022 second-round pick.
2022 rushing champ. It's not Jonathan Taylor. All right, it's too late for Taylor.
Taylor was 19, I think. Taylor been in the league
rushing
for a minute.
champ that was drafted in 2022. So the last couple years.
I'll just put it out there. Rushing champ from this past year.
Oh, James Cook?
James Cook, yeah.
Damn, I forgot about him.
2021, this one also, it feels pretty easy if you're familiar with the year. This draft class was loaded, so maybe it might be a little difficult. But these guys, I think, are consensus best offense, best defense player.
Offense, easily Kyle Pitts. Defense, is this Micah?
Yeah, Micah on defense. Which I guess there's an argument with PS2, but I'd probably go Micah.
All right, we go to 2020. So
no, you gotta nail the offensive player. He was similar picked to Kyle Pitts, very close in that range.
Zach Wilson, Chase.
Yeah, Jamar Chase on the offensive side of the ball. 2020, I don't think you're gonna get the defensive player because he's absolutely not the best. But offense is pretty easy. 2020 best offensive player. High pick.
I'm trying to think who is Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Defensively, I don't even think I'm going to sit. You know what? He was a first-round pick, I think. Let me fact-check this, but I'll give you that for now. He's a first-round pick, if that helps with anything.
AJ Terrell.
No. But I'm going to double-check for sure. I'm
not going to lie. There's no way I'm going to be able to. If it's
he's
not
he's a linebacker, off-ball linebacker. He was first-round pick, 28th overall in the 2020 draft, off-ball linebacker. Again, this guy is not the best defensive player in this class, so this is blasphemy.
So who is the best defensive player? Can you tell me that?
Let me see. Let me see if I can find. Off the top of my head, I wouldn't know. I would say Derek Brown is in this class. He's better than this guy. I would probably put AJ. Not probably. I would put AJ Terrell over him. Who else is in this class? Let me sort it by like sacks to see if there's any good. Alex Highsmith is in this class. He's better than him. Xavier McKinney is in this class. He's leagues better than him. I mean, Antoine Winfield Jr., Like, there's so many better players than this guy. You want me to just give it to you?
You're probably going to have to give it to me. A linebacker, like
Patrick Queen is who they have for the best defensive player in 2020. Like, no way. No way you're telling me that, bro. Like that's the one player on this list where it's like, no way. I just cannot get behind it. Sure, you're going to have some arguments, 50-50 split here. That one, he's legitimately probably like not even top 10 defensive player in that class. That is so ridiculous. 2019, your hint here, both of these players got drafted to the same team and played there for at least 5 years.
Same team and played there 5 years. 2019.
Offensive player was a late first-round pick. Defensive player was a fourth-round pick. Both drafted to the same team. Neither one like offensive or defensive rookie of the year, though. But both, I think, were like top 3 in voting.
2019? Fourth round. Is Max Crosby?
Max Crosby on the defensive side of the ball. And then on the offensive side of the ball, same team. First round pick.
You guys drafted in the first round that year.
Late first round pick.
Late first round pick. See, I'm thinking of your guys' late first round picks, and I'm thinking like defensive players.
He was picked in the same class as Cleveland Farrell and Jonathan Abram.
See, that's what I'm thinking of. Jonathan Abram as a late first round pick.
He was a late first round. I think
Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, they have Josh Jacobs as the best offensive player from this class, which off the top of my head, I don't know how accurate it is, but he's had some really good years. And then 2018, both first-round picks. I think both like top 15 picks. I think this guy was a top 15 pick if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, both really high picks.
2018.
Mm-hmm. So this is Baker's draft.
Baker.
Not Saquon on offense, though, in case you were guessing that. Let me make
Quentin
sure.
Nelson?
No. These guys were actually picked back-to-back in the top 10. So, actually, they were higher. I thought the defensive player was like 14 or something, but no. These guys were both picked back-to-back in the top 10.
2018.
Offense and defensive. Yep.
2018.
Number 7 and number
Josh
8
Allen.
overall. Josh Allen is one of them. And then the player picked directly after him.
Right.
Defensive player, linebacker.
It's not Fred Warner. Fred Warner was a later pick, and he's also, I think, like 19 or something.
Yeah. I think Fred Warner might actually be this class. He's on his second team right now, currently. So he's not on the team that drafted him. The team that drafted him, I want to try to think of a fun hint that won't give it away. I'm trying to think of anything that I can go here with. I'll just say the team that drafted him was Chicago. That'll probably give it away, but that's all I got.
Bears. Roquan
is the best defensive player from 2018. Overall, I don't think that bad of a ranking. I probably would agree with you. I do believe Bijan should be over Gibbs.
I think they probably are going off of like career maybe and not like this moment.
Maybe. That probably would make sense. Definitely
this moment,
Roquan,
you think is the best defensive player from.
But also like Patrick Queen, like that's someone that really throws me off. Even like as much as he's my boy, like even like Josh Jacobs, like I don't know if I can confidently say he's the best offensive player. Again,
who else was in that 2018 draft?
On the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, because right now being Roquan, no fucking way.
2018 NFL draft.
Because if Fred Warner's in that class, that's insane. Like you said, I thought he was 19. If he's over Fred Warner, that's fucking ridiculous.
So the edge rushers aren't crazy. The best player you have is like a Josh Sweat. On the defensive side of or defensive backs, I should say, you have like Jesse Bates, Minka, Denzel Ward, Derwin James. Fred Warner is in this class.
No fucking way. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's not better than Fred Warner.
There's
no way he even has the better accolades than Fred Warner, does he? I know Roquan banked a couple of All-Pros.
So
3 first-team All-Pro. Damn.
Yep. 3
first teams and 2 second teams. Fred has 4
first. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's I don't.
And he would have been a first team if he played this year. If he played at least 15 games, he probably would have been another first team All-Pro. So I definitely would not agree with Roquan over Fred. Maybe they're factoring in the injury, but yeah, no way, cannot personally agree on that. I think I did have one other thing. Let me check real quick before we hop into this mock draft. Let me see. I think that's it. I think I had. Wait, let me see if I can pick this up. Okay, no, this is the last thing. Last little trivia, somewhat thing. Over the last 5 NFL drafts, how many first-round picks have been traded, if you had to say off the top of your head?
Over the last, 5?
5 drafts.
I
will give you a hint. I would probably say it's more than you expect.
I'm going to just try to remember from 1, 2, 3...
And this is not 4. Like only during the draft, by the way. This is like period. First round picks traded.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 15.
I told you it's more than you expect, brother. 60.
What?
6 first round picks last year. 10 in 2024.
I guess that makes sense because it's like, how many happened on like draft night though? I'm trying to think of last year. You had Travis Hunter who got traded up for it. Now, what I'm assuming is basically if one trade happens, it counts for 2. You know what I mean? So the Jaguars traded with the Browns. That was maybe they even count that as 3. So I should have guessed at least 30.
Because maybe they count that as 3 because the Browns or the Jaguars traded an extra first-round pick, and then they swapped first-round picks. So I wonder if that counts as 3. That might. But there were 6 last year, 10 in 2024, 16 in 2023, 18 in 2022, and then 10 in 2021. And they show like players associated with the picks. Devontae Smith in 2021 was traded up for. A.J. Brown was the pick traded from Tennessee when Tennessee selected Treylon Burks. Will Anderson Jr. was traded up for by the Texans. Caleb Williams was the pick that belonged to the Panthers. And then Travis Hunter is the front pitcher for last year, again, traded with the Cleveland Browns. But, yeah, 60 total first-round picks have been traded over the last 5 years. Nuts.
Yeah.
And we've seen a ton more that have happened this year already. I mean, we started off the episode with the Bengals trading away their first-round pick. So, yeah, hectic stuff. Let's just get right into this NFL mock draft. Now, there's a few things that I want to preface. Now, I don't know if Jaden went about it the same way, but for me, I didn't necessarily go about this all like 100%. I'm not trying to predict the NFL draft because I think that that's impossible. If you could do that, you'd be a millionaire by betting on things like that. I more so kind of looked at it. If I was the GM and these players were available in front of me, who do I value more? Now, obviously, I'm not going to make stupid picks. I'm not going to make, because I'm a Raider fan, I'm not going to have the Chiefs select a 4th-round pick in the first round or anything like that. But it's more of a personal biasness. You know what I mean? If I have a player that I like more and maybe there's a certain pressing need, like would I rather, if a team needs, let's say, I'm trying to think of an example that I can give here, but I'll just make up one. Let's say there's a team that needs offensive line help, but maybe their receiving room is also really, really bad, right? They need both of those. Now, let's say on the board there's a 7 out of 10 offensive tackle, but there's a 9 out of 10 with potential to be a 10 out of 10 receiver on the board. You know, what would I rather take? Would I rather take a tackle that's going to be an okay starter in the league for a while, or would I rather take a guy that could potentially be an all-pro at receiver? It's a thing like that where I kind of looked at it for these teams. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this. We're going back and forth selecting picks. I have every single odd pick. Jaden has every single even pick. We ended up on that, obviously, because my Raiders pick at number 1. So it was only right. So let's just get into it. You ready to jump right into it? I guess, did you kind of go about it the same way, or did you kind of think of it like, I want to predict the draft?
I think a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, yeah.
And I mean, like some picks where it's like, if there's, where there's smoke, then there's fire. I'm gonna pick, even though if like wouldn't agree with that pick from what I'm seeing online. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of just going with kind of some of these kind of consensus, but there are some where it's like I'm just gonna pick who I think is the best player in this situation. So, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. We will start it out with the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Not going to spend too much time on this. The Raiders will be selecting Fernando Mendoza. I don't got a whole lot of notes to go over here. The man's been the number 1 pick really for the past, probably 5 or 6 months now. It's always been Mendoza. I'm not falling for none of this Ty Simpson hype. Number 15 is going to be in Las Vegas next year. Now, the question is, will he be a week 1 starter? I'm not sure. Whatever sets him up for the most success and whatever allows me to have my mental health be back over the next, decade plus of this guy being our starting quarterback, is hopefully that's how it works out. I'll be good. So, again, won't spend too much time. No 1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza.
All right, with the second pick, the New York Jets. I feel like there's 2 players that are kind of been talked about going here. And it's between both of the edges, David Bailey and Arvell Reese. I personally prefer Arvell Reese, so that's who I'm going to be going with. I just think he has a higher ceiling than David Bailey. He gets a lot of comparisons to Michael Parsons. And I think that's warranted. I think he's really good at, dropping into coverage as kind of like a hybrid edge, but also if you really needed him to pin his ears back, he could really go after the quarterback. Tested insane at the combine as well. On top of that, I think Arvell Reese is the right pick to make here for the Jets.
I agree. I thought you were going to go into that like, oh, we got another no-brainer at number 2, because in my opinion, now, it's going to be interesting to see how the draft really shakes up. I think this draft really starts at number 4. I think number 1 is locked up with Mendoza. I think number 2 is locked up with Arvell Reese. And I think number 3 is locked up with who I will be selecting at number 3 for the Arizona Cardinals, Francis Maui-Noah. I think he is the best tackle in this class. He's got good hand technique, good balance. I think the only thing that you can really knock on him is he doesn't have ideal size for the NFL. But I think he does so many other things at a great to elite level where I think Francis Maui-Noah can really come in and be a 10-plus year starter for the Cardinals and make a hell of a career out of it. So the Cardinals who, are hoping to find their franchise quarterback in next year's draft, I think shoring up that offensive line with a guy like Maui-Noah is going to help him out a lot. He's going to appreciate that. So the Cardinals, for me, select Francis Maui-Noah at number 3.
I have Tennessee at 4, and I'm going with another consensus. I'm going with Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I was curious to see where he went and if you were going to make that play.
Was that the consensus for you? Because you said it's after 4 it starts. Did you say at 4 or after 4 it starts?
I thought at 4 because I think Jeremiah Love is... Yeah, I think it's a real thing where he has the most smoke going to Tennessee, but there's a real possibility they could take an edge there. I think that's where it kind of shakes up, and it's going to be interesting to see what they value. I'm not on the side of a Jeremiah Love is a similar prospect and generational to some of the running backs that have come out in recent years. I'm kind of on the opposite side of a lot of people, but I still do think he's an absolute game changer and can be an all-pro in this league. But, yeah, I don't know. I do like the pick, though. I do think it's between a Love or, one of the other 2 edge rushers that are kind of mocked similar. But Yeah, Jeremiah Love. I'll let you go talk about him for a little bit. I won't go too much.
No, you just go in 5. I mean, we know Jeremiah Love's easily the best running back in his class. I think he's a generational prospect, and you think differently, but I think he has that. I think he's got the size. I think he's got the power, the contact balance. I think he's got everything, the speed, all that. I think he'll fit great into Tennessee.
Yeah, it's a fair point. At number 5, I have the New York Giants selecting Captain America in shoulder pads, Sonny Styles. Now, this is a guy that, out the gate definitely needs to improve in coverage, but at the same time, he also had 0 missed tackles this past year and probably is the best athlete in this class. And when you're able to get a guy like that on the defensive side of the ball, I think you're able to scheme him up where you're able to kind of cover up that coverage ability and hopefully coach him up to be a better player in that aspect. Because, I mean, with that amount of size and speed, you can really mold this guy into be whatever you want. And the Giants that, have a lot of talent on that defensive side of the ball, obviously trading away Dexter Lawrence hurts that talent now. Bringing in a guy like Sonny Styles for a rebuilding team that, believe to have their quarterback of the future, let's just keep putting superstars around that guy. And Sonny Styles, in my opinion, fits perfectly for them.
At number 6, the Cleveland Browns. I will be taking a tackle here. And I think I'm going to be going with Monroe Freeling.
I think wow. Yeah. That's a really good – this is the guy that's been moving up boards
I was just about to say that. Yeah, he's been jumping up recently. I think he's the most surefire tackle in this draft. I think he's got the most ideal size of anyone 100%. In this draft. I think he's a really good player. I think he's good in pass pro. I think he's good in run.
Yep.
As it says here, he's really good in the inside zone heavy scheme, which that's kind of what the Browns did a lot with Quinshon Judkins. So I'm gonna go Monroe Freeling here over the higher rated prospect in Spencer Fano.
Yeah, that's funny. I had him. He fits better. I had him.
And you also got to get some protection out there. I mean, with whoever they run at quarterback, whether they stick with Shador, whoever they decide to bring in, it's going to be really rough back there if you don't get some protection up front.
Yeah. I had how I went about this is I had a couple players mocked to each of my teams, obviously with different players getting took off the board, want to make sure to have some backup. I had Monroe Freeling around 11 to the Dolphins, and literally my top 2 notes, which you touched on, was ideal length and range for an NFL tackle and a great puller, as you mentioned, a guy that thrives in zone blocking scheme. So, yeah, Monroe Freeling, a really good pick, and I didn't know how high he would go, but I don't mind it at all. At number 7 for the Washington Commanders, I'm really stuck here. I have 4 potential players that I really like for the Commanders, and I'll just state them. I have Cardinal Tate, Mansour Delane, Reuben Bain Jr., and David Bailey. And I think I'm between 2, and I'm going to go with Cardinal Tate. The Commanders obviously have their quarterback of the future in Jaden Daniels, and you want to surround him with great talent at receiver. And I think they've made attempts so far throughout Daniels' career, but Cardinal Tate would be the best one so far that they've done. This guy that's not the most elite, greatest separator, but I think he has amazing burst at the line and amazing burst out of breaks, and a guy that showed a lot of improvement from 2025. This was a guy that you didn't really know where he was going to be slated, especially playing next to a guy like Jeremiah Smith. And for him to come out and have the season that he did, I know he didn't end it well in the playoffs, but Cardinal Tate, I think, is still a guy that can be a superstar in this league. And the Commanders, I think they land there, hopefully, number 1 wide receiver for Jaden Daniels. I know you still got Terry McLaurin there, but, I feel like Terry hasn't been able to hit that really next step that I think a guy like Cardinal Tate can eventually do. So, number 7 for the Commanders, have them taking Cardinal Tate.
At number 8, I have the New Orleans Saints, and I think this comes down to one of the edges for me. And personally, I like Ruben Bain. I think he is one of the better prospects in this draft, even with, the size concerns, like the arm concerns. Like, dude, his arms are so short. Like, he's in the, what is it, like the 199th percentile for, or what is it, 1 percentile for arm length? Like,
opposite.
I think it's like there's literally never been a player with shorter arms than that. But I don't think that really matters a lot for him. I think he makes up for it in his just explosiveness, his power, and everything he can do. But with that being said, I think I'm going to land with David Bailey here to the New Orleans Saints.
Okay. I thought you were potentially leaning Bain there.
Also, Bain, the legal stuff coming out. I don't want to get too much into that because, the charges were kind of were dropped. He's not going to get prosecuted for that. It's more so of like what the teams prefer. Like I don't think it's going to stun him from playing in the NFL. I think he will end up playing. It's a horrible situation that happened, but it's not something he can get prosecuted for anymore at this point. I think it's just crazier how Miami was able to cover that up for so long without anybody knowing. But anyways, David Bailey, I'm going here at 8. I think he's a really good player. I think he has potential to be a great player. He's just kind of like that limited, not an every down edge rusher, just a pure pass rusher, which, there's value in that. But I think I prefer personally like an edge rusher that can, do it all, amazing in the run and in the pass. But, David Bailey, someone like that, a lot of potential there.
Yeah, that's fair. At number 9 for the Kansas City Chiefs, I have a lot of players to choose from here. And I think ultimately I'm going to land on I kind of am leaning towards one of the corners. They've lost a lot at corner this past year, and I think I'm going to go with Mansour Delane here for the Chiefs.
Yeah,
that's a guy that had 0 penalties, 0 touchdowns allowed, and 2 20-yard catches allowed in 2025. A very quick and fluid mover. The only thing that I would have knocks on him, a little bit of smaller arms and doesn't have the greatest burst out of breaks, but I think Mansour Delane is one of the cleanest prospects in this draft, and a guy that, I think is going to fit well for Kansas City considering how much they lost over there this past offseason. So Mansour Delane is the pick at number 9.
At number 10, I have the newly acquired pick for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, did the pick change from where it was for the Bengals?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. This was not going to be the same player drafted. But for me, I think this is kind of just the best player available, honestly, in my opinion. I think I'm going to end up going Caleb Downs here.
Yeah,
I think they're getting one of the best players in the draft. Caleb Downs can do it all. Can come down, play in the box, can, play, one of the best tacklers in this draft. Amazing in coverage. I think he's going to pair really nice back there with Javon Holland.
Yeah. Man, imagine the Giants walk out with Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. Shades of a Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, where we feel like walking away. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's not shades of that.
We come out walking away thinking they have 2 top 3 players in the draft or something crazy like that, and then it doesn't shape up. But these 2 players are significantly different. I feel much better if this is how it goes.
It's crazy to say that in hindsight, but bro, when the Giants did that, nobody thought Evan Neal was going to be that type of player.
Yeah.
And Kayvon is, he is what he is at this point. But, I think, it's hard to say that looking at this, you'd feel that much better. If you go back in time, I think people, that was an insane time when they made those 2 picks.
Yep. And they we don't see teams picking that high. I think they had 3
it was like 3 and 5. Yeah.
That's nuts. That is nuts.
Yeah, these are later picks, but
Crazy.
Amazing prospects nonetheless.
Yeah. At number 11, I'm going to take a guy that had a little bit more hype right as soon as the NFL or college season really ended, but I think has certainly started to fall. And really, if I didn't take him here, there's a world where he could fall even, further, because I don't know if teams directly after this would be immediately taking him. I'm going to take Spencer Fano for the Miami Dolphins. The guy that has experience at both tackle spots. I think he's laterally quick with really solid range. I think the only thing that I would say are some negatives for him. He does have a thinner lower half with a little bit of shorter arms. But I think still as a prospect, I really, really like Spencer Fano and the Dolphins that need a lot really on every single aspect of that team. I'm going to land them with a tackle, and hopefully he can be a surefire guy over there for a long time with their, new quarterback in Malik Willis. So, yeah, Spencer Fano at number 11 for the Dolphins.
At number 12, the Dallas Cowboys. This is where I finally have Ruben Bain dropping home run pick for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to slide right in and fit amazingly on that defensive line in Dallas. Who would have thought that the Cowboys would be here, in such a great position of making their team better from what it was last year after making possibly one of the worst trades of all time.
Yeah.
Not the worst trade, but pretty bad trade, trading with a player like Michael Parsons. But I mean, it's hard to say that this D-line probably isn't better right now than it was with Micah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ruben Bain, Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark. They also, I didn't even realize they signed Rashawn Gary. Gary.
Or they traded for him.
Oh, they traded for him. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I remember that I've seen so many tweets like Max Crosby, we're good, bro. Like that. I forgot who's the damn reporter that did that. The LeBron, we're good, bro. Ben Simmons is here. I can't remember.
Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, they were doing that meme on Twitter with it.
But yeah, I think they could. I think they could go corner too, but I think Ruben Bain, I can't let him fall any further. I think he's one of the better players in this draft. A lot of good corners still on the board. Will you take one here?
Yeah, it's going to certainly end here. The Los Angeles Rams at number 13, I'm going to have them taking Jermod McCoy, a guy that has ideal size for the position, a good run defender, and has good NFL speed. I do think he needs to improve when the ball is in the air. That's something that I noticed that I think is his biggest weakness. And he's also not super aggressive at the line of scrimmage, something also that I think he could find to improve at the NFL level. But I still think a really solid prospect. I am a huge fan of the corners in this class. I think something that I noticed going through this process is I'm not as big of a fan of this draft as I thought I was, but there are specific players and specific positions that I really, really, really like, and corner is one of those. So Jermod McCoy, for me, lands at number 13 for the Los Angeles Rams.
I have the Baltimore Ravens at pick 14, and I have them taking Jordan Tyson.
That's a really good pick.
True X receiver. I think he has potential to be, one of the best receivers in the NFL if he can stay healthy. He's had some pretty nasty injuries in college. Was it like he tore his ACL? And last year, was it like what was his injury last year? It wasn't a lower body injury.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. I remember when I was looking into him as far as
the year before, possibly, actually.
Yeah,
2024 suffered a broken collarbone. He's had some nasty injuries in college, but when he is healthy, I mean, he's a literal game changer. I think he's the best receiver in this draft class. I think the only thing holding him back is those injuries.
I agree.
Yeah, I have the Ravens taking a chance on him here.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm trying to see. I don't think so. I think I only have out of every player or every team that I had above this, I think everybody has gotten took besides one. I think it's going pretty decent right now. I land at number 15 with Tampa Bay. And I think, I got a decent amount of prospects here that I'm considering. I think I'm going to end up landing on Vega Ioane. I think that's where I'm going to go here. Interior offensive line. I think he handles interior defensive line like nothing. He's very similar to a Jason Kelsey in that aspect. It's high praise, but man, is he fluid in that. An amazing pass blocker. He's definitely a solid run blocker, definitely a better pass blocker than run blocker. But the Bucs could definitely look to improve on the interior offensive line, and a guy like Ioane is definitely that. So I think this is honestly a home run pick for them.
I did a couple mock drafts, and a couple of them I had Vega landing to the pick right before the Ravens. But yeah, good to see him getting drafted high. I think he's a good player too.
Yep.
With me, the 16th pick, I have the Jets. Who do I have the Jets taking here? I think, honestly, I was originally going to go receiver here, but honestly, now I'm looking at it, I think I'm going to go edge. I think this is where I'm going to have Akeem Mesidor going.
Ooh.
The opposite side mate to Ruben Bain in Miami, mounting that defense. Amazing player. Like when you watch the film, like the highlights on Ruben Bain, it's hard to not see Mesidor in there, stamping his mark in the games. Like he is an amazing pass rusher. Not the every down pass rusher I think like Ruben Bain is, but I think he's an amazing player. Athletic. I think he's toolsy. I think he knows how to use his hands. I think I have him going to the Jets here, with the Jets losing. Like a Jermaine Johnson and whatnot, trading away a Quinnen Williams. I think they need to get that defensive line better. And I also think they need a quarterback too, but I'm not taking any quarterbacks this high. So, yeah.
That's fair. Moving on to me, number 17 for the Detroit Lions. I am going to continue the trend with a lot of corners being took, and I am going to take Avion Terrell for the Detroit Lions. A very underrated run defender, a guy that I think is a really solid mover, very fluid in that. But I think his size and his length allows him to get bullied at times. I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed when I watched Avion Terrell and some of the other things that I was looking into. But still a prospect that I really like. This is a guy that I was really higher on a few months ago, a guy that I could have seen even going as high as number 13 to the Rams, but he slips a little bit for me, and I have him landing here in Detroit. A guy that is the brother of Jaden's A.J. Terrell, and a guy that I think has, the chance to be as good as his brother. So if the Detroit Lions are able to get that, they've definitely had some troubles at corner over the past few years. If they're able to finally find their number one, they would certainly be happy with that.
I have the Minnesota Vikings at pick 18. And honestly, I think I'm going to follow up your trend of taking a cornerback. I think I'm going to be taking Colton Hood here at 18. Possibly a bit of a reach for PFF. Had him ranked pretty low, but I think he is easily, could be the third best corner in this draft. Depending on who you prefer, Avion or Colton Hood. I think Avion's more of a slot guy, so if you prefer that true outside corner, which I think the Vikings would really like over there, him on the outside, Byron Murphy on the outside. You could have, Isaiah Rodgers in the nickel or in the slot. I think it could be a really nice tandem over there in Minnesota. So Colton Hood with my pick 18 for Minnesota.
Yeah. It's a good pick. It definitely, I can understand that reach part. A lot of things that I was looking into, and even myself, I kind of had him mocked more in the 20s range. Excuse me. But I don't think it's a bad pick at all. I mean, really, it's just like if you feel like your guy's there, go get him. So I don't mind that at all. At number 19, I have the Carolina Panthers. And I think I'm going to land on Caleb Banks for them. This is a guy that missed a lot of time in 2025, but I think he is undoubtedly the best interior defensive line pass rusher. And I think the Panthers could definitely use some much needed pass rush. They brought in some key guys in free agency, and they already have some guys in there that I think they like. And adding a guy like Caleb Banks just to improve that unit. The Panthers are certainly set up for a great 2026, and pairing a guy like Banks on that defense, I would much like that. So Caleb Banks for me goes at number 19 to the Panthers.
At number 20, I have the Dallas Cowboys, and I think in my previous mocks, I never had them taking Ruben Bain. I think usually around here, I had them taking a defensive line, which I still could, but this kind of shakes it up a bit with who I want to take with them.
That's the thing with the draft. It's like one different pick changes everything.
Yeah. I think some of the corners I would be reaching big on, too. Like D'Angelo Pons, smaller guy, too. Playmaker, but Cisse, I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about Cisse, but where do I want to do here with the Cowboys? I think I'm going to end up going D-line again. No, I'm not. I'm lying. I think I'm just gonna go Dylan Thiemann here. I think they get a playmaker here. Really strong in the run support. Another player who rose on a lot of draft boards. You didn't really see mocked really a couple months ago, but especially after the combine, really improved his draft stock. So we'll go Dylan Thiemann for the Cowboys here at pick 20.
It's a good pick. It's a guy that I had even potentially mocked higher, but just ended up continuing to fall for me. I wasn't gonna let him fall much further, but it's a good pick. I move on to number 21 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I have the second quarterback going in the class. I have Ty Simpson to the Steelers. Shades of a Kenny Pickett type of pick, but I think Ty Simpson is certainly a better prospect than Kenny Pickett was. A guy that has really good NFL size at the position. I think he's really solid in the pocket. He's a college quarterback you don't see too often, but he had command of the offense pre-snap, something that you don't see a lot. The things that do worry me a little bit with him, I think his accuracy is very on and off, very, very like average accuracy at best. And I think only 1 year of starting in college definitely worries me. But I think he does a lot of things well in the pocket as far as layering throws and his precision and things like that I really like. So I think Ty Simpson has a very high chance to be a solid starting quarterback in this league. And the Steelers that seem to just not know how to commit to a rebuild, I think if they're able to go in like a semi-rebuild and build up Ty Simpson in the background and have him come into play, in a year or two or whatever it may be, I think that would be good for them. So Ty Simpson to the Steelers at number 21.
For me, with the 22nd pick, the Los Angeles Chargers, I have them taking Caden McDonald. I think he's one of the best defensive tackles in this draft. For me, it's either him or Caleb Banks. Just depends on who you prefer. I think Caleb Banks has the higher ceiling, but Caden McDonald, I think, is easily the best run-defending defensive tackle in this draft. It's a massive, nose tackle plunge in that middle of the defense. I think he's perfect for what the Chargers need on that defensive line.
It's a good pick. That's a good pick. I move on to number 23 for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think the pick for me is going to be KC Concepcion, a guy that is great off the line of scrimmage. He's got ideal NFL speed and burst. Not the greatest size, and I think he had a pretty decent drop issue this past year. But a guy that has really risen on a lot of boards as of recently. And I think the Eagles that certainly are going to need some receiver help, because I am fairly confident that A.J. Brown will not be starting there week 1. I think that would be a great fit for a Philly, a guy that, more so fits in the slot. Devontae Smith, I think even though him similar, not the biggest guy, I think he's definitely an outside type of receiver. So a guy that I think can fit into the offense really solidly. So number 23 for the Eagles, I land KC.
At number 24, the Cleveland Browns. I also have them taking a receiver. I know
who it is, too. I had him mocked at number 27, but we'll see.
I have them taking Denzel Boston.
Oh, no, not the receiver that I had. Interesting. I'll talk about my receiver later, because hopefully he's still there at number 27, but I thought it was going to be that receiver. But anyway.
Yeah, I have them taking Denzel Boston. Denzel Boston, a massive receiver. Get a lot of draft comps to like a T. Higgins type. I think he's an amazing player. I think he's a good, solid target for if someone like Shador that you want to roll out there. I think he could be like a quarterback's best friend type of player. Mm-hmm. I think he would be, good implement on that offense for any quarterback that comes back there.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'll move on to number 25 for the Chicago Bears. And I think I'm going to land on interior defensive line, and that is going to be Peter Woods. The one thing that worries me about a player like Woods, and one of the biggest reasons why he has fallen so far, a guy that, was mocked very high earlier on this season, his play has just simply went down every year of college. But I think he's a really, really good mover and has prototypical NFL size for the position. And a player that if he can get back to that play that he had early on in college, you're looking at, a really, really good interior defensive line, a really good pass rusher, solid against the run. And it's like you want to be able to try to unlock that. It is worrisome, as I mentioned, that the play has, significantly went down. You look at all aspects of it, as far as pass rush, win rate, and whatnot. But Peter Woods, I think if you're able to unlock that, the Bears are certainly going to enjoy a player like that on the defensive side of the ball. So Peter Woods falls to the Bears at number 25.
At number 26, I think I'm going to be taking a linebacker here for the Bills. And it just comes down to, for me, like what I think they would prefer. And like, man, this is kind of tough. I think ultimately I am going to go. I think I'm going to go Jacob Rodriguez, honestly. Pretty big of a reach. But I think he's a great, he feels that defense. He's a great field general type linebacker. I think he's good in coverage. He's not the most athletic guy, but I think the Bills, they're really going to be looking for that, kind of that next player to step in and kind of take on that Matt Milano role, with Matt Milano getting up there in age. It was between him and C.J. Allen, and ultimately, I think I landed with Jacob Rodriguez. I think he's just, I think he's just the more instinctive player, maybe a little bit limited, athletically, but C.J. Allen is kind of in that same boat, not the most athletic guy either. And I think Jacob Rodriguez is just a bit more instinctual in that aspect of the game. So, yeah.
Yeah, those are two guys that I was having trouble trying to fit them. I think what I've noticed and it's weird that it's working out this way. A lot of teams that we have, it's like my number one guy that I've wanted for a lot of these teams, I've ended up with. It's like we don't have a lot of overlap. Like it was hard for me to get one of those linebackers to one of my teams here in the 20s, but it's working out pretty well. At number 27, I have the 49ers, and the receiver that I thought you were potentially going to take for, I believe, the Cleveland Browns, I have here at number 27, and that is Omar Cooper Jr., a guy that has experience in the slot and on the outside. I think he's a very, very well-rounded receiver. I just don't think he has, great size or length, and that can, definitely hurt him when it comes to playing through contact. But I think it's a guy that just overall is a really, really solid player. And for a 49ers offense that does so much with their playmakers, a guy that I think can really thrive in an offense like that. And the 49ers certainly need help out there at receiver. So Omar Cooper Jr., a guy that I wouldn't mind going to my Raiders in the second round if he were to make it, ends up falling here for the 49ers at 27.
This spot, I was talking to you before this started. This spot was one of those spots where I kind of thought about having a trade up into the first round. But with the pick you made, I'm not going to do it anymore. I was going to have the Cardinals trading up at either 28 or 30 to take Ty Simpson.
Ooh.
But, yeah,
okay.
He's not on the board. And I think, honestly, personally, like Ty Simpson is probably like not my second favorite quarterback in the draft or the second best. Because I really like all of these guys, like besides Mendoza, I don't think are like day one starters. And even Mendoza, there's talks of him not being a day one starter. But I think the other guys just have like a higher ceiling. Like even like a Nuss, Drew Aller for sure has the more tools, a higher ceiling. Carson Beck, in my opinion, is just like a better version of what Ty Simpson I think is ultimately going to be, which is like a good backup personally. But yeah, anyways, off that, it's not even happening anymore. We're not trading up with the Cardinals. So at 28, I think this is going to be a fun pick. I'm going to have the Texans taking. I have them taking Kenyon Sadiq at number 28.
You stole him from me. I had the Chiefs at number 29 going Kenyon.
Yep.
Damn it.
Kenyon Sadiq.
Good pick.
For the Texans. Lit up the combine. Best tight end in the draft. Phenomenal player. I think he's going to be a stud on that Texans offense. Get CJ Stroud all the help he can get. Try to get him back to that rookie form because it's been rough the last couple of years. So why not get him another weapon in that offense?
Yeah, that's a good pick.
I think he'll immediately be like – I think they'll probably still roll out with like Schultz and stuff. He's the vet, but I think he'll immediately be the best tight end in that tight end room. They're kind of deep at tight end. I was looking at their depth chart. They got Schultz, they got Brevin Jordan. I know they like Cade Stover. I think there's like Ohio State connection there with him and CJ, but yeah, Kenyon Sadiq, phenomenal player, best tight end in this class.
Okay, this definitely throws me for a curveball here. I'm not sure where I want to go with the Chiefs at 29. Am I at right now? I think I'm going to land on an edge rusher.
That's what I was looking at too.
I think that's going to be Keldrick Falk.
Yeah, that's what
I think it's a guy, not the craziest athlete, not a guy that's going to blow you away with, the advanced stats of a pass rush win rate and whatnot. But I think he has a really, really nice first step. I think he improved a lot in 2025. I think he improved with his hands. I think he improved with his footwork. And a guy that I think can continue to potentially get better at the NFL level. And the Chiefs that certainly wouldn't mind getting a boost on that defensive side of the ball, especially on edge, would definitely like a guy like Keldrick Falk So he falls for me at number 29 to the Chiefs. Damn, I really wanted Kenyon Sadiq for the Chiefs. You stole them from me. But I think the Chiefs would be fine with Keldrick Falk.
For me, at 30, right? Yeah. At pick 30, I think this is where I finally have Makai Lemon going.
That's a good pick. Man, has he fell for us a lot. I don't think people are going to like that.
Yeah.
But he fell.
I think it's just how the board, falls.
Shaped
if it wasn't going to be 30, I think for sure, probably, I'm thinking you would have picked him at 31 maybe.
Yeah.
But, Makai Lemon for the Dolphins. I mean, Dolphins probably have the worst. I'm not even going to say probably. They have the worst wide receiver room in the NFL. Malik Washington, Tutu Atwell. Who else is on that? Jalen Tolbert, I'm looking at. Yeah.
It's rough. It's rough for sure.
Bringing in Malik Willis on that contract, you're signing him to be the starter, to be the future. You got to get him some weapons. And I think Makai Lemon, probably the best route runner in this class, I can't say why he fell for us. There's not really any crazy concerns. Every prospect has their weaknesses. But he was, a little weird in those pre-draft interviews. But I wouldn't say that's why he fell for us. But it's just kind of how the board went. I think he's still a phenomenal player. Probably probably a top 20 player, top 25 player in this draft. Could easily win higher, but I think it's a steal for the Dolphins to get him at 30. And I think in real life, if this were to happen, you would probably see a team at some point try to trade up for him. Yeah, if he's falling this low.
I mean, at the end of the day, you see certain falls in the draft that you question, and it ends up working out pretty well. But that's just
and there's a lot of things we just don't know either.
Really shakes up
with how these players interviewed, personally with teams and stuff that could make them fall. Like there's there's really never anything that we know that'll make a player fall. Sometimes it doesn't have to do with injury or anything. It just sometimes players fall. Yeah, I guess this is what happened for us.
Yeah. And I'm going to finish out my last pick at number 31 with the New England Patriots. And I am going to have...
I think you're going to take...
I'm going to have them taking C.J. Allen.
Damn it.
A guy that, is a really sure tackler. He's definitely on the smaller side. That's easily his biggest thing. His pursuit speed is something that I noticed was not amazing, but I do think he has overall solid play speed along with burst. And I think he's solid in coverage, definitely an area that he could improve as far as side to side ability, or sideline to sideline ability, I should say. But yeah, CJ Allen. Man, I had the last two picks of my draft would have worked out perfectly because I was on a run here of every pick that I wanted working out. And Sadiq I had to the Chiefs, Keldrick Falk I had to the Patriots, but had to switch those up. So the Patriots end up landing with CJ Allen.
With the final pick of the first round, I have a trade up.
Ooh,
the Atlanta Falcons traded for the second overall. Honestly, that could be a realistic thing. I don't think they will because they traded up last year. New regime, though. I really wanted you to take Caden Proctor at 31. I love Caden Proctor.
Yeah, I had. That's literally who I was going to go with. And the only reason why I didn't take Caden Proctor at 31, I don't think he would be a week one starter for me. And I'm like, can I really justify drafting a backup in the first round? But we see it a lot, honestly. And I don't think it's that crazy when you talk about tackles being drafted as backups, because I think sitting for a year is a good thing, especially for them. But he was definitely a guy. He was a guy that I had as far as 17 when I looked at teams that could potentially take him. That was going to be my only guy that didn't go in the first round. But yeah, I was highly considering it for the Patriots.
Yeah. I think for me at 32 with the Seahawks, I think I'm going to take an edge. And I think I'm going to land on Zion Young. Not the highest ceiling of player, but I think he's a great, good size at edge, good run defending player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's how we're going to end out the first round with the Zion Young.
And that is a wrap. That is our official 2026 NFL mock draft. I think that went really well. A lot better than I expected. That was pretty fluid. A lot of picks that I liked. A lot of picks that teams that I had their number one need, they ended up getting. So I like that. I think definitely our biggest
one
faller.
Thing we missed on, was McDaniel-Saucedo.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be supremely surprised if he's not a first-round pick, but, you never know.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of crazy things in the NFL draft where people are like, oh, there's no way a team would do that. There's no way that would do that, and then it ends up happening. So really, we have no idea how to predict the NFL draft. It is one of the most unpredictable things in sports. Once you get past maybe like the number one overall pick, then it just starts going up from there. But overall, a lot of fun. Let us know your guys' thoughts down below. Let us know if you love the pick that we made for your team. Let us know if you hate it. Probably going to be a lot of people that aren't fans of it. But I think overall, we did a pretty solid job for each team. I think we addressed needs at different positions for different teams. Maybe some of them were not like the most desired needs, but at the end of the day, if you can get a great player at a somewhat need of a position, it'll work out. It ended up falling for you, which is funny. I don't think I had a repeat in a team. I think you had all the teams that have 2 first-round picks. Actually, no, I had the Chiefs having 2 first-round picks. But I think you had everybody else, correct? You had the Cowboys, the Bears.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting how the Giants as well now. Or no, I had the Giants for one of the picks.
I was gonna say, right. Giants at 5.
Okay. I guess we also did split on some of them because I had one of the Dolphins pick. You had one of the Dolphins pick. So we also did split on some of them. But yeah. Anyway, like I mentioned, let us know down in the comments if you did enjoy. Make sure to also leave a like. Make sure to leave a subscribe. Make sure to rate us 5 stars. We will be back next week reviewing the NFL draft, grading every single team's draft, and hopefully my Raiders come out as a huge winner. But yeah, that'll do it for us. We will see you guys next week. We're out. Peace.